And a very good Monday night evening to you all, boys and girls. What's up? It's the Black Avenger, aka the Black Azrael Lee Sanders, and you are checking out an all-new episode of the RCWR show, coming at you on August 26, 2013. Hope your weekend was very good. Hey, you know what time it is. If it's Monday night and it's the RCWR show live, we're covering fallout from tonight's WWE Raw, as it came to us from the Phoenix, Arizona area, where once again we saw the one and only Daniel Bryan, who has been named the #1 contender to face Randy Orton at the Night of Champions pay-per-view that's going to be coming to us from the Joe Louis Arena in about less than 3 weeks. He got destroyed again by WWE COO Triple H's security, if you will, known as the Shields, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, as we saw Daniel Bryan Danielson involved in a gauntlet match. This was pretty much the result of Triple H kicking off tonight's show, telling the WWE Universe that what he did to Daniel Bryan last Monday night on Raw, that it was personal, as he cited how Daniel Bryan had insulted his wife, insulted his father-in-law, insulted him, and that was just too much for him as far as he was concerned. He took it very personal. And he also went out there and said that what went down at SummerSlam with Randy Orton cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase to become the WWE Champion, that right there, believe it or not, folks, it was not personal. That was strictly business. Personal was what he did to him last Monday night. So Triple H really setting it up, as he had introduced the new face of the WWE, the one and only, the WWE Champion, the Viper, Randy Orton. And Randy Orton ever looking so good with that WWE Championship, as he just slowly, mechanically just made his way down to the ring. Triple H had some very kind words to say to Randy Orton, also giving him a gift. Yes, Randy Orton had got a Escalade, and it was a sweet Escalade. And for those of you that's keeping track at home, you're probably saying to yourself, wait a minute here, Randy Orton is getting another car. Didn't he get a NASCAR a little while back? That didn't really go so well. I think you guys kind of see where this was going, as from there we had saw Daniel Bryan come out, and he pretty much had took verbal jabs at Triple H, Randy Orton, and that's pretty much what had set up this gauntlet match. Now Daniel Bryan, he had a hearty good laugh going into the night right before he went through his series of matches, as he ended up spray painting Randy Orton's car with orange yeses. Just, oh, I felt so sorry for that Escalade. But to quote what one of our followers had said, and we picked up a good amount of new followers throughout the night on the RCWR show page. So special shout out to those of you that were interacting with yours truly during the night, as I was just kicking back, retweeting a lot of some of the things that you guys were saying, but even kicking back and tweeting back and forth with some of you all. One of you all had brought up a very interesting point, and I believe the credit needs to go to LMD, who helped jog my memory. He said, wait a minute, didn't this happen with Kofi Kingston? Didn't Randy Orton have some type of a NASCAR? And it was just like boom, just like that, I automatically remembered how Kofi Kingston, he did a serious number on Randy Orton's car. Yeah, unfortunately, what had went down with Daniel Bryan and the spray painting tonight, minor detail that can be taken care of for a couple of $100, or if you know somebody that might be able to do it pro bono, hey, there you go. But you kind of see where this trend is going here, as Daniel Bryan, he's continuing to follow in the footsteps, if you will, of a Stone Cold Steve Austin. And honestly, I'm really, really loving it right now. I love the fact that for a second week in a row, we saw Daniel Bryan Danielson just get manhandled by the Shield, as the entire WWE roster stood out on the orders of Triple H, and they were instructed that if they tried to do anything to interfere in the match, basically during it and post-match, if they tried to do anything, they would be fired right there on the spot. And the main focal point was put on Big Show, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, all these guys who have been very vocal about some of the things that's been going on since Triple H has shown these darker colors and aligned himself with Randy Orton, Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, to basically form this new corporation 2.0, if you will. But was I the only one that was kicking back and saying to myself, what's going on with this ironclad contract that Big Show has? Remember, John Laurinaitis, he helped set this up. Big Show cannot be fired for anything. So why is Big Show not doing anything? Why is he not helping Daniel Bryan? And it was so apparent as you guys had watched those final few minutes of Raw tonight, for those of you that watched it. But if you didn't see it, it was really like WTF, because even the fans kind of realized that something was going on, and they actually were chanting for Big Show to get in the ring, to get in there and help Daniel Bryan. But Big Show just stood there looking on at Triple H with a disgruntled look on his face. And I'm hoping that maybe in the coming weeks leading up to Night of Champions that we can kind of get that touched up a little bit, because if something has changed with the Big Show's ironclad contract, as we constantly kept getting reminded about it, at least maybe as far as 3 months ago, we were last reminded about it. If something has changed, we definitely need to know what's going on and why he wasn't able to interfere in that match. But the way things are playing out right now, sooner or later, we're going to see Dolph Ziggler, Big Show, and The Miz. We're going to see them get involved, and they're going to end up helping out Daniel Bryan. I don't know if it may come as early as Night of Champions, but I would think that leading into this pay-per-view, something is bound to happen. Somebody's going to have to step in and try to come to the aid of Daniel Bryan and really help balance the odds. Now, who could that person be? Well, that's where it gets a little tricky. I'm not really sure who it could possibly be that could come to the aid of Daniel Bryan and help balance things out. Part of me wants to say that maybe we could possibly see a Linda McMahon show up. She usually is the good force. She's usually the voice of reason, right? Maybe we can see her. Or maybe, just maybe, from what me and new co-host Joe Rodriguez had talked about on the weekend edition of the RCWR show, maybe, just maybe, it's possible now that we could see the imminent, that's a tongue twister, man, forgive me. Maybe we could see the return of Shane McMahon. Anything can happen in the WWE, never say never. But I definitely would love to know what you guys think is going to end up happening and how things can finally get balanced out in a way where Daniel Bryan doesn't have to worry about getting assassinated by the Shield every single week. You know, things are going to have to start switching up. Feel free to post those comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Let's talk about other action that had came about from tonight's WWE Raw. You guys got to forgive me because I got a little something in my eye, so I'm just going to like pluck my eyelashes real quick because it's just really bothering me. I know some of you guys, you probably don't want to see this. You're probably saying, Lee, that is disgusting. But forgive me, guys. I got something in my eye, and I do not want to restart this all over again because the flow is just going pretty good so far. Let's talk about some of the other action that had came about from tonight's WWE Raw. Now, we saw that CM Punk had took on Curtis Axel. But wait, you, the WWE Universe, well, WWE, they needed you guys' help to vote the stipulation for this match. Now, you had three options. One was basically Paul Heyman is banned from ringside. The other one is Paul Heyman as special guest referee. The third one, okay, get ready for it. The third one is if CM Punk wins, then he gets a match with Paul Heyman one-on-one. I don't know about you guys, but this sounds so one-sided. It's obvious what direction they're going to be going in right here, especially when they had Jerry Lawler keep saying, I want to see your votes. Get it? I want to see your votes. So it was obvious what they wanted the fans it was obvious what direction they wanted for fans to go in. And I just thought rather than just insult you guys, the WWE Universe Intelligence like that, that maybe they just should have had Brad Maddox come out after a result of a series of exchanges between him and CM Punk, where Punk is just professing to him how much he wants to get his hands on Paul Heyman, and maybe they could have came to some type of an agreement that way. But I just felt that this whole WWE voting, go through the app thing, I just thought it was all just a waste of time, man. I just thought it was ridiculous. But the match itself between CM Punk and Curtis Axel, it was actually a pretty damn good match, which I had really enjoyed, as these guys, they cranked it up a notch, believe it or not, from the street fight that they had last week. I was very, very impressed. Post-match, though, is where things got funny, because after CM Punk, he picked up the victory, he's trying to get his hands on Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, he ends up running to the ramp, trying to go to the backstage area, gorilla position and all. Security guards, they come out, they drag Heyman back down into the ring. CM Punk gets his hands on him, throws him in the ring. He's about to start having some fun with him when Curtis Axel just comes from out of nowhere, delivers a low blow. Paul Heyman, he just starts beating up CM Punk. A pair of handcuffs come into play, as Paul Heyman had pulled them from out of his pocket. Handcuffed CM Punk's hands around his back, and from there a kendo stick was introduced, as Paul Heyman just went to town on CM Punk, Mr. It's Clobbering Time, and it was just freaking ridiculous. I mean, CM Punk, he had welts, he had bloody bruises. I mean, it was just ridiculous the way his back was looking as Heyman was going to town on him. Now, we saw Punk, he tried to get on a little bit of offense, just a little bit, as he was delivering some sweet roundhouse kicks to the temple of Curtis Axel, delivered a couple of kicks to Paul Heyman, and he was getting ready to do a series of curb stomps on him from the Gears of War game, it looked like, for a bit, until Curtis Axel came in, jumped him again, and that was pretty much it. Now, later on in the night, we would see CM Punk catch up to Brad Maddox, definitely upset over what had happened, as at this point, CM Punk, he denied getting medical treatment from the personnel that was there, as all he could think about was getting his hands on Paul Heyman. So Brad Maddox made a deal with him. He said, look, I will give you Paul Heyman, but I'm also going to give you Curtis Axel at Night of Champions in a 2-on-1 handicap match. If Paul Heyman tries to get out of the match, I promise you, you'll never see him again. CM Punk would warn Brad Maddox that in the case that Paul Heyman tries to figure out a way to get out of the match, not only would Heyman never be seen again, but Brad Maddox would be added to that list as well. So some pretty harsh words coming from the voice of the voiceless. Let's talk about some of the actions that had came about from tonight's WWE Raw, as we saw Cody Rhodes in a match against Fandango. Now, Cody Rhodes, he ended up picking up the victory in this match, but Damian Sandow, who was offering commentating at ringside, he would jump in post-match, attack Cody Rhodes. Now, we would end up seeing Rosa Mendes with The Miz, as Miz was dressed up as Fandango. Remember, these two guys are still going at it with each other from the events that had took place on SummerSlam, where Miz was hosting and he kept getting interrupted. So no doubt it's looking like these two guys are probably going to be getting it on at the Night of Champions pay-per-view, which is pretty awesome, as I think this is a nice fresh matchup. I think these guys are somewhat even, with Miz having the better as far as in-ring technician, in-ring ability goes. But from there, once we had saw Miz come out with Rosa Mendes, it ended up basically becoming a tag team match, as Cody Rhodes teamed with The Miz to take on Fandango, Damian Sandow. Once again, Cody Rhodes coming out on top as Fandango during this tag match. He was there for the first few minutes, but once he saw that things were starting to look a little bit grim, he decided to grab Summer Rae and make their exit, as he pretty much had left his boy Damian Sandow all alone, set him up for a defeat at the hands of Cody Rhodes and The Miz. Should be pointed out, by the way, that Miz, he so had Fandango down. He looked just like him, ring gear and all. And Rosa Mendes, she looks better than ever. I'm glad that she's back in the WWE. Of course, as you guys all know, she had left for a period of time as she was taking care of some personal business down in her homeland in Costa Rica. Nice to see that she's back, though. Speaking of Rosa Mendez, man, it sucks that we're not going to be seeing her team up with Epico and Primo, aka Los Matadores. That has got to be one of the most stupidest gimmicks I've ever seen. Why is it a stupid gimmick? I highly would encourage you guys to backtrack to the weekend edition of the RCWR show from this past Saturday. Me and Joe, we just went all into that. And as a Puerto Rican, Joe has some very important information he wants to share with you guys about that tag team. But I so am not looking forward to seeing those guys make their debut. I just think it's really silly. Their promos just look so low budget. Well, not promos, but their vignettes, their video packages looks so low budget, man. It's ridiculous. Other action that we saw on Raw tonight, we saw what I thought was an extension from Total Divas, as it was a Total Divas segment, as we saw Natalya take on Brie Bella, rematch from SummerSlam. Now, this time around, we saw Brie pick up the victory. This was a match, and no disrespect to Natalya, great girl, but I just really had a hard time getting into this match, just like I did with SummerSlam, as it was just all being thrown in our face, what all was going on with Total Divas. Well, luckily, we ended up post-match seeing AJ Lee come out, and she cut a pretty damn good promo on the Total Divas girls. She basically said that all of them are nothing but fake girls that did not do what AJ did, which is basically wrestled her way to the WWE, and that basically these girls, they just got on the camera for about 15 seconds and boom, all of a sudden they're popular. She also talked about how some of these girls sucked, I guess, their way to the top. I can't remember the exact words right now, but the way that she said sucked, it was just, you know, sucked, and she just let it hang there for like 4 seconds. So unfortunately, I couldn't remember what she said word for word, but in a nice, polite way, I think we all know what she was really trying to say. And basically, she told these girls that at the end of the day, they couldn't lace up her Chuck Taylors. And I heard that. I couldn't help but wonder just how high of a stock did Chuck Taylors go up as a result of AJ Lee plugging them, because really, talk about a great plug right there. Pretty soon we'll start seeing AJ in some Chuck Taylor commercials, or Chuck Taylors. I don't want you guys to get confused with some game show host or anything like that. We're talking about shoes here. But I thought it was a great promo that she had cut. I think she's kind of tapping into some of what WWE fans feel when they just get the Total Divas being shoved down their throat. I gotta give WWE props for that, because definitely there is those fans that's out there, and I'm definitely one of those fans. I really could care less about Total Divas. My girlfriend, she loves checking out wrestling from time to time. She loves a good women's match, but even she doesn't care what's going on with the whole Total Divas thing. So I'm really happy that we had AJ Lee come out. She cut the promo that she did, as she pretty much put all the girls on notice. And honestly, if it was not for AJ Lee coming out during that segment, I probably would have like walked out, maybe took out some trash, put out my recyclables, and walked the dog, because that segment was just dragging. It was really dragging. Let's move along before this starts to drag. We saw a great matchup between RVD and Alberto Del Rio, as it looks as though Rob Van Dam, he is just continuing the great momentum that he's been having since he's been back in the WWE. Rob Van Dam picking up a victory over Alberto Del Rio. And remember, folks, we're going to be seeing these two guys lock it up for the World Heavyweight title at the Night of Champions pay-per-view. Wonder how much of a factor Damian Sandow could play into this match. Remains to be seen right here. Ryback made a little bit of a cameo tonight, as Josh Matthews tried to interview him and ask him why he's been going around bullying people, and pretty much Ryback bullied Josh. Kind of makes you wonder, is there anybody on the WWE roster right now that can stop this bullied version of Ryback? we're going to talk a little bit more about that this Tuesday on the RCWR show. So make sure you check that out. And we also got a special guest that we want to tell you about, but we'll do that after we get done covering tonight's results. Also, we had saw Randy Orton in a great match. Definitely one of the best matches of the night. He took on and defeated Christian. And man, this was pretty much the result of some comments that Christian had said earlier in the night as he was being interviewed, and he was giving his thoughts about what was up with COO, Triple H, Randy Orton, the whole Shield, this whole new corporation. And Randy Orton overheard some of the things that Christian had said, which were negative, and this was pretty much how this match had came about. But it was a really damn good match. Definitely the one match that stands out in my mind when I think about Raw of the entire night. Great matchup. Primetime players, once again, they picked up another victory over Real Americans, Jack Swagger, as we saw Titus O'Neil take on Jack Swagger in one-on-one action. Kind of makes you wonder what exactly is going on right here with the primetime players. Notice right here that ever since Darren Young had made the announcement that he is gay, now he's starting to get this little bit of momentum, a little bit more camera time. Just where exactly is this going to be going? We're going to go a little bit more in depth about that this Tuesday night. I think you'll like some of the things that I have to say with regards to this. And other than that, folks, that was pretty much Raw for tonight. I mean, overall, there were a lot of parts that just kind of felt a little bland. A little bit of stuff that kind of felt as though it needed to be fast forward. One in particular, the beating that Paul Heyman was giving to CM Punk. I mean, it reminded me, and definitely a lot of you, because I was reading some of the tweets you guys were saying, when he was beating him down with the kendo stick, and he was saying, "I loved you." He was just saying all types of silly crap. And it just reminded me of the scene from Godfather 2 where Al Pacino, Michael Corleone, he kisses Fredo, and he says, "I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You really broke my heart." And Paul Heyman was definitely telling CM Punk how he broke his heart and how he loved him. And I just thought it was so mushy, but at the same time, I just thought that it was really too drawn out. And I think when you guys watch that segment, you guys will definitely know what I'm talking about, because you'll be with it right on up until Paul Heyman just starts talking, and then you're going to kind of be like, you know what, man? Just stop talking already. Just let it be. You beat him down, walk away. It just felt like it ran about maybe 5 minutes into OT. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong about that. Hey, wouldn't be the first time, wouldn't be the last. But that's just how my interpretation was of that. But, despite all that, as I said, there was a couple of parts of WWE Raw that just kind of felt a little, But overall, it was definitely a decent episode, I must say. Especially with the promo that Triple H had cut on Daniel Bryan. "When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are." I mean, that right there was just freaking hilarious. If that does not get WWE Superstar Song of the Year, I don't know what will. Somebody should have some fun in the production truck, and they should just let that be the new theme song for Triple H when he comes out. And the reason why he was singing this was because he was basically calling Daniel Bryan Jiminy Cricket, when Daniel Bryan was saying how he's going to go to United Champions, defeat Randy Orton, basically eliminate Randy Orton as this pretty face of the WWE, as this new face of the WWE, and basically stick it to Triple H, who, by the way, as far as Daniel Bryan is concerned, Triple H is now a sellout, because basically he traded in the leather jacket for a corporate suit. He's basically a kiss ass now. He's everything opposite of what he stood against, what he stood for, what he stood against, which was the corporation, the machine that was operating the whole organization, if you will. Basically calling him a softie. Are we possibly going to see him and Daniel Bryan lock it up in a match? Again, we're going to go a little bit more in depth on this Tuesday night's the RCWR show, and we're going to have a special guest that's going to be joining us on that episode. By the way, it's going to be the one and only, the beautiful and the lovely adult film actress Kendra Luss. She's going to be joining me and Joe to talk about the new film that came out last week, about a week and a half ago, where she's playing a little bit of a role playing, if you will, of just what would have happened had she and John Cena had a night of steamy, hot, passionate sex. Yes! 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 I know, right? You definitely want to make sure you check that out. It is going to be a show that's definitely going to be 18 plus. So if you do not have your parents' permission to check it out, don't listen to it. I'm warning you guys. We're going to be going raunchy. We're going to be talking some good stuff on that show. Or it's going to be an interview in a show where we usually don't talk a certain way. So you guys want to make sure that you definitely check that out. Hey, was this your first time checking us out tonight? I humbly welcome you guys. I'd love to have you subscribe to us. Go on ahead, hit that subscribe button down below so that you never miss out on all the great content that we do for you guys on a weekly basis. We are always posting a lot of goodies on here, man. Also, make sure you leave your comments down below, especially if you saw Raw tonight. I want to know what you guys had thought about it, if you liked it, if you disliked it. Man, I want to definitely hear from you, so feel free to share those comments down below. If you like this episode, make sure you also give it a thumbs up, favorite it so that other people see what it is that you like, and definitely share it with your friends. It's one of the many ways that helps folks be able to discover our channel more and more. And hey, did you know that you can buy a RCWR show t-shirt? A couple of folks were asking me about this, and you can. We've had them on sale for a good while now. Just go on over to our website at infinityoneproductions.com, and or just look for the little caption that's going to be right here where my finger is, and give you all the information. Shipping is free. We got you hooked up in all sizes. If we don't have the size that you need, you can just click on the contact us tab. You can send us an email and we'll be more than happy to hook you up, man. No problem at all. But yes, we do have RCWR show t-shirts available, and some more memorabilia is on the way. So now that you know, go on out there, represent, order a t-shirt, show your support for our show. That's going to do it until I hear from you guys this Tuesday night with new co-host Joe Rodriguez for the RCWR show with special guest, adult film actress Kendra Luss. And you can only hear that at blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Check out our episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, also now on SoundCloud and on TuneIn Radio. Pleased to meet you. Nice to know me. Everybody be safe and be kind to one another. Take care, folks.